Hi, is this Erica?
No, I'm afraid she's not available.
Yeah. Excuse
I'm
me.
going to talk to you next Monday.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I apologize. Please repeat what you just said.
Yes, of course. I had the opportunity to talk to her, and she told me that she's going to call you back next Monday.
Can you tell me what time it is right now, please?
Right now,
Yes.
3:34 p.m.
Okay, about 3:30 on Friday.
Well, she didn't mention the time, but she's going to call you back.
Is Trevor there?
Well,
Could you check that, please?
she's available.
Okay, thank you.
Just a second, please.
You mentioned about the entire condo, but it's not the entire.
You're right. You're thinking. You're thinking. I'm glad that you know how to think these days. When I read the original HOA, it basically said if you're going to rent the whole place, you have to have permission. I got on the list, if I ever wanted to rent the whole thing, that I have permission to do that. And the person has to be here at least 6 months, and they have the whole place. There was never a word about rooms. No. They may have changed. I may have made a mistake. I usually don't.
Yeah.
So,
Find out.
okay, here's the other thing. Is it illegal for me to charge your parents $500 a month to be here? You see how cloudy this is getting now? If Robert is hired here as my bodyguard, hello?
Trevor, HOA Strategies.
Hi, Trevor. This is David Crestad. How are you today?
I'm doing good, thanks. How can I help?
Well, I got a courtesy notice on my email. Are you aware of that or not?
No, I'm just pulling open your account right now.
Oh, okay. Okay, please take your time. No problem.
We're putting about rental restrictions.
Yes, yes.
How can I help?
I guess I just have a question, that's all. I'm these days blind. I can't read a phone or a computer screen, and so I'm handicapped that way. And when it asked me to refer to page 27 in the rental restrictions, I just wondered if there's any way that you might accommodate me and help me to understand what those restrictions are word by word. And I certainly want to be in 100% compliance with everything. I have absolutely no intention of being out of compliance with the HOA rules and regulations. But I'm wondering if you might be able to help me see, or maybe even read to me, whatever they quoted on page 27, and then maybe you could explain to me what we're reading and what it means. If that would be possible, I really would appreciate it.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. Let me just take a few notes and I'll get that information opened up. This one. I just gotta get all this opened up in front of me. So
No problem. Take your time. Take your time. I'm also homebound, and so I don't have an appointment to go anywhere, so please take your time. And while you're looking that up, I just have another question. The original HOA, now we've been here 17, almost 18 years. The original HOA restrictions, codes and restrictions, have they been either updated or changed, or are we still working with the original documents that I read when we moved in?
It looks like they were amended in the year 2000, less.
Oh, okay.
So they are fairly old.
Okay, that's great. Okay, thank you.
So just trying to find for more information. I recommend looking at page 27, which is outline leases. So let me go get that page
Okay.
7. Okay, so page 27, paragraph 28 speaks about the leasing of units. You let me just to read this to you?
If you don't mind, I'm sorry to be so arduous, but I just can't see.
Okay, so it states, with the exception of a lender in possession of a unit following a default in a first mortgage, a foreclosure proceeding or any other deed or arrangement in lieu of a foreclosure, no unit owner shall be permitted to lease his unit for transient or hotel purposes, which means for the initial term of any lease. Sorry, let me read that again.
Okay.
Long sentence. With the exception of a lender in possession of a unit following a default in a first mortgage, a foreclosure proceeding, or any deed or other arrangement in lieu of a foreclosure, no unit owner shall be permitted to lease his unit for transient or hotel purposes, which means the initial term of any lease shall be at least 6 months. No
Okay.
unit owner, it says no unit owner may lease less than the entire unit, except a carport may be leased to another unit owner. Any lease agreement shall be required to provide that terms of the lease shall be subject in all respects to the provision of the amended and restated declaration and bylaws attached as Exhibit D, and that the failure by the lessee to comply with the terms of such documents shall be a default under the lease. All leases shall be required to be in writing, and a copy of such lease shall be delivered to the management committee 5 days prior to the occupancy of the tenant. The unit owner shall notify the management committee of the names of the lessees of his unit. In the event of the lessee of a unit, only the tenant and not the unit owner shall have the right to use the common areas and facilities while the unit is leased. So that's what's stated in the governing documents, and I think the sentence that's most important to your situation is that no unit owner may lease less than the entire unit. So it appears from the notice that you're attempting to rent out a single room while still living there. Is that
Well,
correct?
well, there's a couple of situations, and again, I want to be honest, transparent, upfront. You know, the rules are the rules, and that's important to you guys and to us too, because we like living here. Let me ask you this, and again, I think some of these are going to be questions that we need to discuss or think about a little bit. Mercy's parents. Mercy is my wife. She's from the Philippines. We're married. We've been married almost 18 years. We've been in the condo for almost 18 years. Her parents were brought here by Mercy. They are U.S. citizens. They live with us. They pay rent. Is that in violation of what we're talking about?
They pay you rent and live with you,
Yes.
so you have 4 adults living in your home.
Yes.
4 adults living in your home, and they rent out a room. Because you rent, my first assumption would be yes, that's probably in violation, but I could do a little bit more research for you if needed. But it does sound like the situation where you're not allowed to rent out part of a unit. It sounds like because you're collecting rent from them, that you're renting out part of your unit.
Okay, and Trevor, sometimes the reason that I'm quiet is I want to be courteous, I want to be polite, I don't want to be obnoxious or rude anytime. And I take time to try to think about what I'm going to say so that I'm honest and that I don't have regrets, and I certainly don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or to be aggressive or assertive. Basically, if I think I hear you right, Mercy's parents living here and basically paying rent for helping with utilities and for food and for living with their daughter is in violation of the HOA codes in Carriage Crossing.
So based on the sentence I read that says you're not allowed to rent out less than the full unit, if you're collecting rent payments from them, it sounds like it may be a rental. Now, again, I would want to do additional research on Bountiful City's code, because Bountiful City's code would impact that as well. I mean, because we could definitely arrange that maybe they're reimbursing you for food or they're reimbursing you for something else, and it's not necessarily a rent payment. But if you're saying it's a rent payment, then I would say it sounds like it's in violation. But if it's payment for some other goods and services and they're living with you, I would need to default to the Bountiful City Code to see what they state about 4 adults living in that unit.
Well, now you said 4 adults. You realize that we have several bedrooms here that we have. Okay, so and again, I'm thinking, because I'm a little ignorant on the Bountiful Code right now, but I won't be in the next hour or two. My impression of codes are that there's limitations of how many people can live in one unit. Usually, most cities will have that. And there's also limitations of how many people or how many bathrooms are in a unit, etc. You can't put 38 people, all in the same family, in a condo. That's not going to fly anywhere. What I'm trying to, I guess, straighten in my mind is that our children lived here, and we raised them, 2 of our children, we raised here in the condo, and we made them pay rent when they were working. Would they be kicked out of the condo in that situation?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, again, charging your kids rent or making them pay you back for goods and services, it seems like a technicality. I think the Bountiful City Code is what probably apply in that situation. They're intended to be single-family units, right, that house a single family, not the whole 2 or 3 families. So, I mean, a parent and children is usually defined as a single family, but parents and in-laws or parents and grandparents, that starts to breach upon the Bountiful City Code that we'd want to research for you.
Okay, well, you've been very helpful, and I appreciate you taking the time. I know it's Friday and everybody's headed for the weekend, and I know, and for you to take my phone call, I do really appreciate it. It's helped me to think. It's helped me to be able to get on my AI systems and look at the Bountiful City Code, and I think I hear you saying that you may well do the same so that we can get some kind of a reasonable solution to what is going on. And we certainly want to be cooperative. We certainly want to never devalue where we live. That's why we live in a condominium. And we certainly don't want to be in violation. This is the very first time in 17 years that we've gotten any kind of a notification or a courtesy even notification. May I ask you this? You seem to have a little bit of knowledge concerning the code. Can you kind of indicate to me, if you have the information, did they quoted KSL newspaper that we ran an ad in KSL. Do you have a crawler system that can identify that to protect the condominium unit? Or did that come from an individual or a city person or whoever? May I please ask who actually notified HOA and made initially, I would call it a complaint?
Yes, I do not have the answer to that. I'm not aware of where that came from.
Okay. Are you aware of who sent me the courtesy notification? Where did that come from?
Yeah, that came from Erica Ox, who's the community manager.
Oh, okay. Well, I have a call into Erica, and her and I certainly can discuss what's going on. But I guess I'll let, go ahead.
Typically, so you know, though, we don't typically, if it was a neighbor who complained or a neighbor who submitted it, we typically don't disclose that to homeowners.
Okay.
We keep that confidential, just so you know.
Okay, well, that's reasonable, and letting people know that is upfront. People have to, accept that. May I, again, you're going to take a look at the code, and so am I, and I guess I wanted to leave with you, if I could please, that my question is, number one, that the children, were we in violation of the code charging our children to live with us? Number two, Mercy's parents are indigent, basically, and from a foreign country. They are U.S. citizens, and Mercy is taking care of her parents. If her parents are paying to help with utilities or food or other things, they are technically paying rent. Would that be a violation? And then I have in the back of my mind this. The code, I think, would be predominant with it's reasonable how many people can live in a unit, how many bathrooms have to be available, how many kitchens, etc. The code probably speaks to that independently. So if these people were not being charged anything, that wouldn't be a violation unless it spilled into whether it's too many people or not enough bathrooms or whatever. Would that be kind of your take on what's going on, or maybe I'm just confused?
Yeah, I apologize. I got a little confused on that too. I didn't understand the full situation. So, do you want to restate it?
Sure, I'd be glad to. I'd be glad to. If Mercy and I were living here in the condo by ourselves, and we found a homeless person that we wanted to help out, and we let them come here and live with us in our condo, would that be a violation of renting a room? If they're here free.
Yeah, I would need to do a search on the governing document to see if there's any other, it's a 48-page document. I'd have to search to see if there's any other rules that may fall afoul of. Sometimes they state that it needs to be for single family, but if that's the case, again, we got to look at the definition of what a single family is, and that allows or doesn't allow different groups to live in the same unit.
Okay, well, I think you're being very accurate, and I think you're being very kind, and I think you're being very reasonable. The third thing, and the final thing, is that my experience has been, and it could be wrong. I'm the first one to apologize. If I'm wrong, and I'll tell you I'm sorry or I'm wrong. Most human beings won't do that, but I do. For instance, if you're in a 55 complex, over 55 for seniors, the rules are that nobody is allowed to live in there over 55. However, if the people that are living there need a nurse, or they need an assistant, or they need help, that person can live there and they are exempt from the 55 age. So that is a consideration that I want to take a little bit of a look at. And then the other situation is that because I'm blind and homebound and covered under ADA and protected class people, do I have a right to request a reasonable accommodation, just like a comfort dog or animal, that I need a certain amount of assistance? If I say I want to have a nurse come and live with us, am I able to get that? And again, that's something for the future. Is that a reasonable accommodation, and is that in violation of Bountiful Code? So I think what we're saying, if I can kind of summarize in my own head, because I'm old, it appears that the statement in the HOA that you read to me was basically talking about leasing the entire unit was one part of the statement. And to do that, I was well aware that you had to be on an approved list, that you have to tell the HOA, gee, we're thinking of moving or whatever, and we want to rent or lease our condo out. And that there's a certain percentage of condos that are allowed to be rented like that, and prove that you can go ahead and rent your condo. The other part of that sentence, and please help me because I'm sure you're looking at that sentence right now, appears to say something along the line, or any other area thereof. Am I hitting that right? It's the whole condominium has to be leased. And it cannot be used for like a bed and breakfast or hotel or whatever. But if we're living in it, what are the limitations to the HOA of if we let people live here for free for charity, or we have children here that we're raising? I adopted 2 of my Filipino children. They lived here and they paid rent here. And so I guess I'm kind of at a point where I appreciate you talking to me. I appreciate you being upfront, courteous, kind, educated. And I think that maybe we could leave this conversation with, you're going to check the code, and I'm going to check the code, and then maybe we could get back together, either with Erica or you and I, whichever combination you would like to have, and see if we can make sure that we stay within the boundaries that are in the parameters. We want to make sure we do that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. What was the intent of your KSL ad in putting that room for rent? Was it to take anybody who's willing to rent that at the rate you posted?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. I'm at an age where I need assistance. Mercy can't even go to the Philippines anymore because I'm homebound, diabetic, bipolar, and etc. I cannot manage anymore. I'm probably going to be in need of some kind of nursing care. I intend to die in this condominium if that's possible. So I need to have assistance. How I lay that out, I want to make sure I do it according to the rules. I don't want to break any rules. I want to be not even close to the edge of the envelope. If I need a nurse to come here and basically she can work another job, but she's also an aid to me, that is one possibility. The other possibility is, whether you're aware or not, and it's not that important, I do run a YouTube program out of my unit, and it's an unpopular program. I have been threatened to be killed. I have been chased in the community. Here in Carriage Crossing, I've had my new car spray painted. I've had to call the police on a couple of occasions. It's coming to a point where I really probably need some kind of protection. It seems to may have escalated to that kind of a point. I've had to put automatic door locks on my front door that lock automatically. Only by code can people come in, and cameras to basically certify who's at the door, etc. So the purpose of the ad was futuristic, multi-purpose, and that's kind of where I am right now. And so, I don't know, have you reviewed that ad?
Yes, I was just looking at that as we were speaking.
Oh, okay. Okay. So basically, I'm trying to answer your question the best that I can. And if I have a nurse come in here, if I change the ad and basically said a free room with nursing services provided by you, is that going to be a violation? So I guess we just kind of have to work around this, look at it many directions. I think the principle, and maybe I'm wrong, Trevor, but I think the principle is that we don't want to devalue the community. We don't want extra noise. We don't want loud radios and people dancing in the ponds and units that are not occupied by owners that have control over the situation. So to me, there's an overall principle that I think is very important. But at the same time, I'm living next to a unit that has a dog. Have I heard that dog bark a couple times? Yeah, I have. But they're here legally. I have to accept that. My feelings of living with a dog next door or barking now and then or whatever is irrelevant to the law. The law says that that person has a right because the doctors have certified that they have a handicap and they have a right to have that dog. When I moved in here, there's a big sign, which is still out front, that says no dogs, no animals. We sometimes have to make exceptions, and I guess that's kind of where my head is right now. And I certainly don't want to be, again, obnoxious, threatening, nothing like that at all. I want to obey the rules. I need to look at the bountiful code. And then I guess I need the board, or you guys, strategy, Erica, to say, what does that mean that anything within it, I guess where my head is it does not say you cannot rent rooms in your condo. Those words are not right there. The intent of the words that are there are important. What does that mean? What was the intent? What is the reasonable reason for those words? And how are we going to enforce those? So I'm being very too long. I'm sorry, I'm old and I talk too much. So I'll be quiet and let you talk.
Yeah, I think there's a lot going on here. And I think where the rule states no unit owner may lease less than the entire unit, it's clear that what's posted on KSL currently, where you're seeking to rent a single room for $700 to whomever may respond to that ad, would be against your CC&R documents. So my recommendation would be maybe you remove the ad, figure out exactly what your intent is with your unit, whether it be the security or a nurse or something else like that that you've described today. Once you know what your plan is, send us an email or give us a call back with what your plan is, so that per the governing documents where it says all leases should be approved by the board, let us know exactly what your intentions are, and then we can do the research on that to see if we can get it approved for you or not.
I think that's very reasonable. Very reasonable. Thank you, Trevor. I wish you a good weekend, and I'll get back with email. I'll check with Bountiful Code, and then let's see if we can come to some kind of resolution.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye. Hey Siri, call Bountiful City Hall.
Calling Bountiful City Hall.
Thank you for calling Bountiful City. You have reached the office of the city manager. City Hall is now closed. Please leave a message or call back between the hours of 7 o'clock a.m. and 6 o'clock p.m. Monday through Thursday.